For the first time ever, an opioid company is found guilty for their role in the opioid epidemic, bribing doctors to give people drugs they didn't need.
And you could soon own a piece of manufacturing history. We'll show you how you can get your hands on some of the bricks that helped build Janesville's economy.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us. We made it to Friday, May 3rd, and yes, we're rocking the sunglasses this morning.
We're celebrating the return of the sun today.
Oh my gosh, look at that thing.
Mine
What
are
is
so
that?
dusty, though.
They are. They're
It's
bad.
been a while.
I had to clean them off a little bit this morning. They've been in the bottom of my purse all week, so they're a little dirty this
I couldn't
morning.
even find them, so it took us time to go digging in my car during the break, but we did it.
It's been a long week,
It
let's
has
just say
been.
the least. So it's nice to see the sunshine this morning. Temperatures are a little cool, and we have just a little bit of fog. You can kind of see that on the Edgewater sky cam this morning. That little thin layer of fog beneath the sunshine early today. That fog will burn off pretty quickly. Enjoy the sun this morning. Here's a look at current visibility. Maybe not seeing a whole lot of the sun just yet in the Dells, where visibility is down to 0, so that's some pretty thick fog. Quarter-mile visibility in Janesville and Watertown as well. 3/4 of a mile here in Madison. Temperatures are coldest here in town. 35 degrees is our current temperature in Madison, 41 in Janesville, 39 in Watertown, and 37 in the Dells. Temps should warm through the 40s and 50s today, back to highs right around 60. Unfortunately, we're going to lose that sunshine this afternoon as clouds return to the area.
No.
It'll still be the warmest day of the week. 60's not bad, right? It is May after all. We should be in the 60s. Here's a look at your traffic maps this morning. No major delays to report right now on the Beltline or in the downtown areas. Looks like travel is still going at posted speeds on all those major routes into the city. I did look across all of southern Wisconsin. No accidents to report.
Good news Friday, the way it looks.
Yeah, starting on a great note.
The concern goes from fog earlier in the week to sun in your eyes on your drive-in.
Yeah, we're not used to that sun, so it might be a little tough to see this morning.
All right, Hattie, we'll have more from that great Saturday forecast in just
Will
a
do.
little bit. Thanks, Hats.
6:02 your time now. Just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center within the past hour here. Madison police are investigating after multiple gunshots were fired at a home on the east side overnight. It happened just before midnight on Milwaukee Street near the East Madison Baptist Church there. Police say several shots were fired at the house, causing some damage but no injuries. Anyone with information is asked to call Madison Police at that number right there on your screen or the Madison Area Crime Stoppers.
New this morning, President Trump is reiterating his belief that it's time to move on from the Mueller report and for Republicans and Democrats to start working together. In a pair of late-night tweets, the president called for an end to, quote, costly and time-consuming investigations. But House Democrats don't look to be backing down anytime soon. They're still considering finding Attorney General William Barr in contempt of Congress after he failed to show up to testify in front of the House Judiciary Committee yesterday. And the Justice Department failed to meet the deadline to release the redacted version of the Mueller report. 5
opioid executives are headed to jail this morning after being found guilty of bribing doctors to prescribe painkillers to people who didn't need them. Insys Therapeutics makes a version of fentanyl. Those executives were convicted on racketeering charges, along with defrauding Medicare and private insurance. This is reportedly the first time executives of a drug company have been convicted of illegally marketing and prescribing those highly addictive opioids to people who shouldn't have had them. The opioid epidemic has killed nearly 400,000 Americans over the past 20 years.
A man will make his initial appearance in Rock County Court this afternoon on suspicion of being responsible for providing the drugs that led to a woman's death back in December. Beloit police say the victim was found on December 23rd, unresponsive in her vehicle. A toxicology report confirmed she died after overdosing on heroin laced with fentanyl. Now police have arrested Chaz Harris. Chief David Zabolski says this arrest is just the beginning of fighting the opioid problem.
That person there is a street-level delivery person. And if we aren't going and getting the larger supplier and shutting down the ability for the product to be on the street, it's not as effective as we would like.
Chief Zabolski says the city of Beloit has responded to more than 140 overdose calls since the beginning of 2017.
More local news now. For years, residents in the town of Dane say their lives were put at risk. That's because Dane had to wait sometimes 5 times as long for an ambulance from Milwaukee, even though they're closer to Lodi. Now that's all changed. Starting this month, Lodi EMS responds to calls in the northern part of the town of Dane, while Waunakee EMS keeps the calls in the southern half. Talks to make this happen have been going on for decades, but first responders say finally the right people got into leadership at the right time.
It could mean the difference between life or death. You know, if we get a patient in cardiac arrest a mile over our county line, you know, their chances of survival decrease 10% every minute that they're without any CPR or anything. So when we have a response time of 3 minutes versus Waunakee's response time of 15 minutes, you know, the potential impact is huge.
The town of Dane and Lodi came up with a contract to make this work, so the town pays Lodi for those services. Chief Russ Schaefer says he doesn't think this is a unique problem for his town. He hopes other border towns will take a look at the solution as well. All right, if you worked at the former GM plant or are just hoping to get your hands on a piece of Janesville history, tomorrow's the day. The Gazette reports at least 2,500 bricks will be ready to be given away at the Blackhawk Community Credit Union through tomorrow afternoon. Distribution starts at 1 p.m. Each car will be limited to 2 bricks. The address for the pickup location coming up right there on your screen. Volunteers expect to be there until at least 4 p.m., but that is all dependent on how many bricks they're able to gather and how many people show up, so you might want to get there a little early. If you can't make it tomorrow, they say there is a good chance of a second distribution date in the future.
A Baraboo nonprofit is using horseback riding as a way to help heal. Baraboo River Equine Assisted Therapy, or BREATHE, offers lessons to those with disabilities and special needs. Chris Singer isn't a clinical therapist, but she's a certified therapeutic riding instructor who started this up 3 years ago. Riders include 8-year-old Isaac and Luke. They're good friends who are also on the autism spectrum. Their parents say the lessons are a breath of fresh air for both of them and their little riders.
Happy! I was riding my horse and I was so happy about shopping. So we was having a great day.
It's stress-free for them and it's stress-free for the parents, because a lot of times the organized sports, it's just so much work for them to keep focused and keep on it and keep up. And here it's very easy.
Such a cute story right here.
It is. It makes you smile to see those kids.
It does. Breathe lessons run April through October. For more information, just go to our website, channel3000.com.
We talked about this earlier, but the power of nature, the power of spending a little bit of time with animals can just really change your whole life.
Just the little things, right? Doesn't take a lot.
Very peaceful. All right, 6:07 your time now. Still ahead, we are introducing you to a local woman working to end breast cancer by walking on behalf of her mom. It's a story anyone who's ever lost a loved one won't want to miss. And our first Why We Walk story of the season.
And finally, we'll see some sun and warmer temperatures. Just look at that, Leah. Take it all in.
Finally.
It's just a taste of what's in store for the weekend. Hattie's forecast when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. We have sunshine this morning. That's really the best news of the day. We haven't seen a sunrise all week, so take a look at a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. Sun is up. Skies are mostly clear here on the west side of town, so a nice start to this Friday morning. We have been talking about some fog, though, all morning, and the National Weather Service in Milwaukee has now issued a dense fog advisory for parts of southeastern Wisconsin. Northern Illinois and parts of eastern Iowa also included in that dense fog advisory. It goes until 10 o'clock this morning. We're talking about visibilities that are close to a quarter of a mile, if not less in some spots. Quarter of a mile in Watertown and Janesville. Visibility up towards the Dells is just 0 right now as well, so pretty close to 0 visibility there. 3/4 of a mile in Madison. Here's a look at your high temperature trend over the next 10 days. We've been experiencing a very slow warm up through the week, and that will continue through the weekend. That's the good news. Temperatures actually climb a couple of degrees above normal this weekend, hitting highs in the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. But you see what happens next week. Unsettled weather returns to the area with chances for rain and generally cooler temperatures. So enjoy the warmth this weekend. Here's a look at your Doppler track this morning. It's very quiet around here. Now, outside of a few sprinkles this afternoon, things will stay dry today. Satellite and radar trends combined showing you that clearing trend taking place across the Badger State this morning. There are quite a few clouds, though, quickly working their way through the Central Plains. They're going to arrive in southern Wisconsin later on this afternoon. Temperatures are still dropping in many locations. Eau Claire's down to 30, it's 27 in Superior, 43 in Milwaukee, down to 34 here in Madison. So kind of a cool start with the clear skies. Temperatures are in the 40s though all around. Future track forecast model shows you sunshine through the morning hours, but by lunchtime today, already starting to see some of those clouds spread in from the west. It'll be mostly cloudy this afternoon, but highs will be right around 60 degrees. Now we'll clear out again tonight, so we start right around 40 tomorrow morning and then quickly warm through the day. Highs will go back up to 68 Saturday afternoon, and on Sunday we're looking at a high of 70 degrees. There is a chance for a shower or thunderstorm during the afternoon on Sunday. Next week looks a little wetter once again and cooler as well. Let's get a look at your First Alert traffic maps this morning with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Quiet start on the Beltline so far. Really nothing to slow you down heading east or westbound. Looking at other roads here in Dane County, a few of the usual brake lights are showing up on the northbound side of Rona Road near the Beltline. Moving well downtown around campus. Plan on things picking up over the next hour or so. And other main routes heading into the city, they're moving at the posted speeds with no major issues. Your First Alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Hattie. 6:13 is your time this morning. You're going to see more pink popping up here at the News 3 Now studio and around the area. The annual Susan G. Komen Walk is just about a month away.
Yeah, the More Than Pink Walk, formerly known as Race for the Cure, brings together breast cancer fighters, survivors, and thrivers. Throughout May, our Christina Laurie is sharing some of their stories here on our morning show. She's here to tell us why this woman's story this morning is so special. Christina.
Good morning. This woman is really incredible. We give you a little teaser in the last half hour. But unlike many walkers, Amy Schellpfeffer's never been diagnosed with breast cancer herself. But that doesn't make her fight for a cure any less. Last year, we introduced you to 4 fierce women during our weekly Face of the Race series. This year's event is no longer a race, so we're changing the name of our series too. First up, here's Amy and why she walks. It's said that life doesn't come with a manual.
She was just the strongest person.
It comes with a mother.
She would love this and love talking to you and telling you her whole story.
And in her 61 years, Connie Trimberger certainly taught her daughter Amy a lot.
Every busboy, bagger at the grocery store that she ever met knew all about her.
Connie's life got more complicated when she was first diagnosed with breast cancer in the mid-90s.
The first time she met one of my friends and immediately took her wig off and showed them her bald head. And I was like, Mom, really, they wouldn't have even known if you hadn't shown them.
That was during Chucky's second battle with cancer. The disease came back 7 years after she first beat it. This time, it was metastatic. According to the American Cancer Society, nearly 30% of women diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer will develop metastatic disease.
My mom was always of the philosophy that if she could just do the next treatment and wait and continue to fight, something else would come along.
That's when Amy, determined to do something, decided to walk in Susan G. Komen's annual event. She was pregnant with her oldest daughter.
I feel very strongly that to find some way to help prevent this from happening to them.
Her team, Chucky's Chicks, helped raise hundreds for her mom and others.
And I think strides in one type of cancer will help everybody.
After 5 years of fighting and waiting, Chucky lost her second battle with breast cancer in 2009. Now, 10 years later, Chucky's strength, positivity, and relentless determination live on in Amy.
While she wasn't able to be active in any of the actual, fundraising or advocacy, she did her own part by giving me the power.
It's in her granddaughters, too.
I'm super proud of them. They're just like my mom and fighters all the way.
A fighting spirit and strength, thanks to Chucky.
This year, Chucky's Chicks have another reason to raise money for Komen's More Than Pink walk. Amy's mother-in-law and one of Chucky's best friends was diagnosed with breast cancer. The good news, though, Amy says the outcome is looking very positive. And so if you'd like to donate to Komen or to Amy's team, we have links on how to do both up on our website, channel3000.com. And again, that walk, you can still register to participate in the walk as well. It's on June 8th this year. And it's really nice that they removed the word race from it, because then even more of the money will go back to Komen, who provides so many great free services for people living with cancer.
Very impactful. I mean, we talked about this earlier too, but it's like, I feel like we all know somebody that has been affected by cancer at some point in their life. And it's just like to see the stories being shared and the reasons why people come together for these events. I mean, it's really unbelievable.
If you've ever been to the events, there are hundreds of people there, every single one of them touched by someone's story, touched by cancer in some way. So this is an incredible, incredible opportunity to give back and beat breast cancer.
And Amy herself is a pharmacist, so she says she's dealt with a lot of people who have been going through different forms of cancer, and she firmly believes that strides in one type of cancer will help people fighting any type of cancer.
Love that.
All right, Christina, thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
6:18 your time now. Maybe you or your kids had ugly dolls growing up. This must have missed my generation. We were talking about it in the newsroom, though. Christina said she did. A new movie out this weekend is bringing those dolls to life with a great message for young kids. We'll have a preview coming up.
And for the first time all week, the kids probably won't need to wear the rain boots to the bus stop. Patty's updating our News 3 Now First Alert forecast when we come back.
Beautiful.
Welcome back at 6:22 on a Friday morning, and we're all very distracted this morning. Sue, our director, has like a different sunrise shot in like every monitor in the building, and it's like, look at that.
They're all beautiful.
They
Nice.
are.
What is that?
What is it?
We forgot what it looks like.
It's so great.
Welcome to the
my
sunshine.
gosh.
Another one.
Another one.
Yeah, well, that one you can actually see. Oh, Platteville.
Oh my gosh.
Sunrise shots
Look at
abound
that.
this morning. Some of you can actually see a little bit of the fog. We've been talking about fog this morning. The National Weather Service has issued a dense fog advisory for some parts of the area, so your sun will be delayed a little bit in some spots, but don't worry, it will come. Let's take a look at the Edgewater Sky Cam again. You can see some of those low clouds right here in Madison. Visibility has been less than a mile in some spots. Here's a look at the current visibility readings. Down to 3/4 of a mile at the airport here in Madison. 1/4 mile visibility in Janesville and Watertown, as well as the Dells. Southwest Wisconsin not dealing with as much fog this morning, but be aware a dense fog advisory has been posted for southeastern Wisconsin, areas south and east of Dane County until 10 o'clock this morning. Here's a look at our current temperatures. Some spots still in the 40s. Janesville at 41, Monroe's at 44, Lone Rock is at 42 degrees. We are looking at cooler temperatures here in Madison. Enjoy that sunshine this morning. Skies have cleared out for most of the area. Your bus stop weather forecast, though, has clouds rolling back in for the lunch hour and then continuing through the afternoon. Will be a little warmer today with highs near 60 degrees.
All right, Hattie, thank you. Time right now is 6:23 this morning, and if you're looking to take the family to a movie, there's one premiering this weekend that has a perfect message for kids.
Ugly Dolls is all about being yourself and embracing what makes us all different. Here's Will Loper with a preview.
Welcome to Uglyville, friend. Wake up, Moxie!
I've always believed the big world is real. I know I'll find the perfect kid for me, but I'm starting to wonder, with no evidence, no proof, what if it's not true?
Kelly Clarkson voices Moxie, an ugly doll who ventures to the land of perfection and must learn her place in the world with her other ugly doll friends.
Welcome to the Institute of Perfection, where only the best will meet their perfect human match.
You're an engineer/model.
My accessories will make me different.
Or a lawyer/model.
I'm an individual, exactly like the rest of you.
You're not a model. Data does not compute.
Ugly Dolls is rated PG.
What's your name?
Wedgehead?
I love literal naming. Isn't that right, gibberish cat?
Okay, this looks cute.
It does look
but
cute.
I'm not familiar with that whole premise at
I'm not
all.
either. Like, some people in the newsroom were talking about it this morning. Other people had no idea, like us.
Signs
So,
you're getting old.
There you go. All right, 6:24 this morning. It's still ahead for us on this Friday morning. Governor Tony Evers meets the head of Foxconn face-to-face for the very first time.
We'll have more on that. Plus, the city of Madison is working to make sure people in one South Madison neighborhood will not be left without a place to buy food. More local news is coming up on News 3 Now this morning. The fight over the future of health care here in Wisconsin continues as the governor and the legislature face off.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, everybody. You made it to Friday, May 3rd. We are on the lookout for that thing called the sun.
It's over there, guys.
There it is. Wrong way, wrong way.
It's early. But man, we had to dust these puppies off.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been a week since we've had to use the sunglasses here in Wisconsin, so nice to have them back this morning. Take a look at this viewer picture that I got just a couple of minutes ago. A sunrise in Benton, Wisconsin this morning.
That's my neck of the woods, guys.
Yeah, I know. That's a nice picture, though. Sun coming up, a little hazy, a little bit of fog in the area. Here's a look at the dense fog advisory that has been issued for southeastern Wisconsin, until 10 o'clock this morning. So there are a few counties in our area that are included, mainly south and east of Madison. Here's a look at current visibility. Quarter-mile visibility in Janesville and the Dells, 3/4-mile visibility here in Madison, just a quarter of a mile as well in Watertown. So watch out for that fog early this morning. Nothing showing up on the radar map though, which is great news. Temperatures are in the 30s here in Madison. It's 35 degrees, 41 in Janesville though, 43 in Mineral Point, 36 in the Dells. As you head out the door, your forecast this morning has temperatures climbing from the 40s and 50s. Back close to 60 degrees. Enjoy that sunshine early. Unfortunately, it's not going to stick around all day. We'll have clouds for the afternoon. Most areas, though, today staying dry. Just a few sprinkles possible this afternoon. Here's a look at your first alert traffic maps. We're seeing some slowdowns on Verona Road as you exit the Beltline, and a little bit of a slowdown on Stoughton Road as you approach the Beltline, but otherwise things looking pretty quiet. That construction zone in Verona Road still slowing you down just a little bit as you head towards the Beltline. Otherwise, no accidents around the region to report at this hour. But again, remember those sunglasses, especially if you're headed east. You're going to need them.
Oh, I haven't forgotten them.
On.
I like this look. Josh, I can't read a thing, though, with these on, so do you mind taking over?
I have to take over, right?
All right, Hattie, I'll be outside. Let's grill.
All right, let's do it.
Thank you, Hads.
All right, it is 6:30 right now. Governor Tony Evers is backtracking from earlier comments about his doubts on Foxconn's job production. Evers met face-to-face with Foxconn CEO Terry Gao for the first time yesterday in Milwaukee. It's unclear what they talked about, but the meeting came just a day after Gao met with President Trump at the White House. Foxconn has promised a $10 billion facility and 13,000 jobs in Wisconsin. Evers previously expressed his doubts about Foxconn reaching that 13,000 job mark, but said yesterday it could also be more than 13,000 jobs created.
Governor Evers also working on Medicaid expansion in Wisconsin, while Republican leaders are accusing him of using, quote, empty rhetoric to gain support. Republicans plan to move more than 70 items from the governor's budget proposal, including Medicaid expansion. Evers wants to accept federal money for Medicaid, freeing up more than $1.5 billion from other health care spending. But Assembly Speaker Robin Vos says costs could shift to taxpayers, as 40,000 people would give up their private insurance to get on Badger Care instead.
So I'm here today with a message for the people of Wisconsin. I'm going to fight like hell for Medicaid expansion. I need your help to get it done. I need you to call your legislators.
Those of us who control the legislature ran saying we do not want to expand welfare in Wisconsin. So ultimately it takes two to tango, and we are not going to give in just because Tony Evers continues to use misleading rhetoric about what the impact would be on the insurance market.
Now, Governor Evers cited public opinion overwhelmingly in favor of Medicaid expansion. The Marquette Law School poll released last month showed 70% of voters are in favor. But Vos says his job as an elected official is to take in all the information and make the best decision for the state.
There may be hope when it comes to the two as far as the measure regarding marijuana legalization. Vos said he hopes to find a middle ground with the governor on a limited legalization of medical marijuana. Vos has long supported a limited legalization for chronic medical conditions, but says Republicans won't go along with the governor's proposal to also decriminalize small amounts for recreational use.
A former Wisconsin congressional candidate won't be taking to Facebook anytime soon to share his thoughts about President Trump, the Democrats, or anything else, really. Facebook announced yesterday it banned Paul Nealon from the site. Nealon has been accused of making anti-Semitic comments on there in the past. He unsuccessfully ran for Congress in both 2016 and 2018 against Representative Paul Ryan. Facebook says multiple factors going into banning someone from the site include whether the person has ever advocated for violence or has been identified with a hateful ideology.
In more local news at 6:33 this morning, a new partnership is putting fears of a food desert on Madison's south side to rest. The Pick and Save along Park Street is one of the only full-service grocery stores in the area and is now set to close as SSM Health is taking over the property to build a new healthcare facility. Community members responded with concerns and frustration, and now the city plans to use a piece of city-owned land to build a new full-size service grocery store in that area. SSM Health will work to coordinate timelines so the neighborhood doesn't have to go without a store.
There may be some growing pains in the process, but I'm really hopeful actually now that in the long term, what we're going to get is something that's really positive for the community.
Mayor Rhodes Conway made the announcement Thursday, pointing out there are a number of locally owned ethnic food stores in that community and that she wants those to get some attention too.
If you've ever been by Wingrip Creek over the past week, you might have noticed a number of dead fish in the water. The DNR says they've responded to about a dozen calls reporting pockets of dead fish appearing there. They say it is not due to chemical dumping like many people think, but actually it's due to natural causes. They say the fluctuating temperatures this spring are causing fish, specifically bluegills, to get stressed out. When they're stressed, they're susceptible to a naturally occurring bacteria in the water. The DNR says you should not eat those dead fish.
Ooh, that's gross.
Not the first thing I want to wake up to.
No.
Sorry, folks.
All right, 6:35 right now. The Milwaukee Bucks are getting ready for a pivotal Game 3 against the Boston Celtics tonight. We'll have that preview coming up.
Don't worry, Josh, it's Friday, and we all hate missing work for medical reasons. That's also true for our working four-legged friends. We'll show you how folks at the UW Veterinary Care Center are helping them get back on their paws as soon as possible when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
Welcome back on a Friday morning, 6:38 right now. Kevin posted this on Facebook out of Argyle. Check that out.
Okay, I might be a little biased, but I think these pictures coming out of Southwest Wisconsin, always the best ones.
They are always really good. But it's just good to see the sunshine, too.
It is. Even the clouds look beautiful there. We don't mind them, even after a week of clouds. Take them if we can see a peek of sunshine, too.
We're looking for the positives here. All right, Kevin, thank you so much.
What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on Facebook or on Twitter, and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning so Josh and I can find and share our favorites right here on the program. All right, there is another program at the UW Veterinary Care Center that's working to make sure dogs can get back to protecting us as soon as possible.
Riker is one of those canines. He first came in about a month ago with a broken tooth. For your pets, that might be painful, but for Riker, it also means a risk of not working for the Iowa County Sheriff's Office. That's why the oral surgery team put metal crowns on all 4 of his canines to make sure the other teeth don't suffer the same fate, and Riker can keep doing his job.
It's amazing the stuff that we can do to hold on to those teeth and preserve them so that they can continue to work and, save lives and do the things that they do.
Dr. Amy Thompson and the rest of the dentistry team only have this cramped space to work in, and appointments are booked out through the fall. The Veterinary Care Center is in the middle of a fundraising campaign to expand its facilities, which would help all of the departments help more animals.
Really important work being done there. I said it earlier. These aren't just pets. These are actual officers, canine officers helping us in our communities.
A hero. I mean, that's the thing, is
Yeah.
like they are helping us every day. So it's one of those things to be able to make sure that they're getting the care they need, obviously especially important.
And we are hoping that Riker is feeling better.
Yeah, that is for sure. All right, 6:40 right now. We've been waiting all week, but the rain is finally on the way out, and we're expecting some sunshine today. Hattie's in next with that amazing weekend forecast when we come back.
Soak it in, folks. But first, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, we would love to know so we can show their picture on TV. Thanks for watching News 3 Now this morning.
All right, we welcome you back on a Friday morning with a live look on the Hattie-O patio. Look at that.
Doesn't that just make you smile?
A very tranquil start with the waterfalls. We head into what looks to be an amazing weekend.
You know, it might have been a cloudy and cool week, but at least the Hattie-O patio isn't frozen. Could be worse.
And looking a little green out there, too.
Love that.
Oh, it's amazing. All right, 6:43 is your time right now. The Bucs are waking up in Boston this morning, but they'll still be without one of their key players as they head into a very important Game 3 tonight.
Yeah, guard Malcolm Brogdon is being ruled out for this evening's game. He's been out for the past 3 weeks with a foot injury. Brogdon was averaging about 15 points a game before getting hurt and was hoping to play tonight. Instead, he'll be out for at least one more game as Giannis Antetokounmpo and the rest of the team try to take a 2-1 series lead. Tip-off is at 7 on ESPN.
6:44 right now, and Hattie, finally some good news in that forecast. A little bit more to smile about this morning.
That is true. We've been waiting all week for this sunshine. It's finally here this morning. Here's a live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam behind me in Platteville. Not a big issue with fog there, but there is some fog in southeastern Wisconsin. Dense fog advisory has been issued for Rock and Jefferson counties until 10 o'clock this morning, and most of the rest of southeastern Wisconsin. That also does include northern Illinois and parts of east central Iowa. Now, as we go through the day today, the fog will lift pretty quickly this morning, but right now visibility is at 1/4 mile in Watertown and Janesville. Some improvement here in Madison as well as the Dells, so that is good news. The fog isn't going to last too long. A live look from the Edgewater Skycam this morning. A little bit of a hazy shot as you look from the Edgewater this morning, but still clear skies overhead, so a great view early today. You may have forgotten that sunrise is getting a little earlier each day. It's been tough to remember that this week with no sunshine. Officially today, the sun came up at 5:49, that is, and it sets after 8 o'clock for the first time. 8:01 is the sunset. We're adding about 15 minutes of daylight each day. We have about an hour and 11 minutes left before the longest day of the year on June 21st. And speaking of sunshine, a lot of sun on the map for the western part of the country. Denver 66 with sunshine, 67 in San Francisco as well as Los Angeles. Partly sunny skies there. We're not too far off of that. We'll be right around 60 here in Madison. Lots of rain through the central part of the country, and then as you head towards the east coast. No flight delays though right now. High pressure in control of the weather today. That's going to keep things relatively quiet around here. Another cold front off to the west though. That will bring a chance for rain coming later on this weekend. First this morning though, let's talk temperatures. 36 here in Madison, 43 in Des Moines. Climbs into the 50s as you head down to St. Louis with 54 degrees this morning. Now across southern Wisconsin, our temperatures are generally in the 30s and 40s. 38 in Camp Douglas, 36 in the Dells. Low 40s though for the southwestern corner of the state. Madison now up to 37 degrees. Our future track forecast model will show you that skies will stay clear through the morning hours. Watch what happens though as we head towards the lunch hour. Those clouds begin to spread in from the west, and they'll be with us through the rest of the afternoon, but high temperatures should still make it back up close to 60 degrees today. Skies will then clear out overnight tonight, and as we head towards tomorrow morning, a cool start to the day. Lots of sunshine though in the forecast for Saturday. We're looking at a high of 68 degrees Saturday, 70 on Sunday. There will be a chance for a few showers or thunderstorms, mainly later in the day on Sunday. I don't know if you want to talk about next week. Let's not even talk about, not go there just yet. Enjoy the sunshine this weekend. We have a pair in our forecast, Cooper and Bonzi and Monroe. One of them, I don't know which one, is not having that picture though. The gray one.
Not having the cloudy skies, that's it. They want some sun.
There's always one that has to stick out, right?
That's true. Always your brother.
I agree with that. All right, thank you, Addie.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. The Morning Sprint is up next on News 3 Now this morning. It is 6:50, time for the morning sprint. Hattie is the most popular person in the studio this morning with her weekend forecast.
And Christina Laurie brings us the story of a woman working to end breast cancer on behalf of her mother. But we start in Washington, D.C., where we're waiting to see if Attorney General William Barr will be found in contempt of Congress. House Democrats are still thinking about citing the AG after he failed to show up for a House committee meeting yesterday, and the Justice Department failed to meet a deadline to release an unredacted version of the Mueller report. President Trump says it's time for Congress to put the investigations aside and move forward.
The governor of Florida is expected to sign a law allowing teachers to bring guns into classrooms. The Guardian program was passed in the wake of the Parkland shooting, allowing districts to arm staff. This new rule would require a psychological screening for teachers along with 144 hours of instruction, including target practice. It is up to the districts to decide if they'll arm their staff. Right now, 29 of Florida's 74 school districts have opted into the program.
5 executives from a company that makes a form of fentanyl are headed to jail after being found guilty of bribing doctors to prescribe painkillers to people who didn't need them. This is reportedly the first time executives of a drug company have been convicted of illegally marketing and prescribing those highly addictive opioids to people who shouldn't have had them in the first place. The opioid epidemic has killed nearly 400,000 Americans over the past 20 years.
A Rock County man will make his first appearance in court this afternoon on suspicion of being responsible for providing the drugs that led to a woman's death back in December. Chaz Harris allegedly gave a woman heroin laced with fentanyl before she was found unresponsive in her car on December 23rd. Beloit police say they've responded to more than 140 overdose calls since the beginning of 2017.
Madison police are investigating this morning after multiple gunshots were fired at a home on the east side overnight. It happened just before midnight on Milwaukee Street. Police say several shots were fired at the house, causing damage but no injuries. Anyone with information is asked to call Madison Police or the Madison Area Crime Stoppers.
And we are starting with some dense fog this morning, especially in southeastern Wisconsin, where a dense fog advisory is in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. Visibilities are less than a mile there. Our temperatures today, though, will climb from the 40s this morning back to around 60 later on this afternoon. Look for clouds to move in for the second part of the day.
Patty, thank you. Governor Tony Evers is backtracking from earlier comments about his doubts on Foxconn's job production. Evers met face-to-face with Foxconn CEO Terry Gao for the first time yesterday in Milwaukee. The meeting came just a day after Gao met with President Trump at the White House. Foxconn has promised a $10 billion facility and 13,000 jobs in Wisconsin. Evers previously expressed his doubts about Foxconn reaching that 13,000 job mark, but said yesterday it could also create more than 13,000 jobs.
Meanwhile, as the governor continues to push for Medicaid expansion, Assembly Speaker Robin Vos is calling it, quote, empty rhetoric. At a press conference Thursday, Evers said he will, quote, fight like hell to get expansion approved in the budget. Vos says Evers isn't telling the whole story of what an expansion would mean for Wisconsin taxpayers. Republicans plan to vote on cutting the proposal out of the budget next week.
There may actually be some hope for the two when it comes to a measure regarding legalizing marijuana. Vos says he hopes to find a middle ground with the governor on a limited legalization of medical marijuana. Vos has long supported a limited legalization for chronic medical conditions, but says Republicans won't go along with the governor's proposal to also decriminalize small amounts for recreational use.
A former Wisconsin congressional candidate won't be taking to Facebook to share his thoughts about Wisconsin's budget, President Trump, or anything else for that matter. Facebook announced yesterday it banned Paul Nealon from the site. Nealon has been accused of making anti-Semitic comments on Facebook in the past. He unsuccessfully ran for Congress both in 2016 and 2018. Facebook says multiple factors go into banning someone from the site, including whether that person has ever advocated for violence or has been identified with a hateful ideology.
Minutes matter in an emergency. That's why a few rural towns in the area are working together to make emergency response times quicker. Lodi is agreeing to respond to calls in the northern part of the town of Dane, while Waunakee EMS will handle calls in the southern half. That could cut response times by 10 minutes in some cases. Officials hope other towns consider similar deals to better cover emergencies.
Fears of a so-called food desert on Madison's south side are being put to rest this morning. The Pick and Save along Park Street is one of the only full-service grocery stores in that area, but it's set to close as SSM Health plans to build a new healthcare facility there. Community members responded with concerns and frustration. So now Madison plans to use a piece of city-owned land to build a new grocery store in that area. SSM Health will work to coordinate its timelines so the neighborhood doesn't have to go without a place for food.
Right now, the DNR says a fish kill in Wingara Creek is not due to chemical dumping, but rather natural causes. They said the fluctuating temperatures this spring are causing fish, specifically bluegills, to be stressed out. When they're stressed, they're susceptible to a naturally occurring bacteria. DNR says you should not eat these dead fish.
According to the American Cancer Society, nearly 30% of women diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer will develop metastatic disease. That became an unfortunate reality for one Madison woman's mom. It's been 10 years since Amy Schellpfeffer's mom died after her second battle with breast cancer, but her fighting spirit lives on in her daughter. That's just part of the reason Amy participates in Komen's annual More Than Pink Walk. You can read more about the pair's unbreakable mother-daughter bond and watch their full story. It's up on our website, channel3000.com.
Thank you so much, Christina. 6:56 now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your Friday First Alert traffic. Hey, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Still moving well on the Beltline so far, although that westbound side is definitely picking up and heading eastbound. Make sure you grab the shades. John Nolan getting busier and inbound side. Rimrock and Olin Avenue starting to pick up heading into the downtown area. And other main routes moving into the city. They're moving at the usual speeds with no major crashes or issues. Your First Alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh. Have a good weekend.
And you definitely need the sunglasses, especially if you are headed east this morning. Here's a live look from the Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam in Platteville. Not a lot of fog there. Good news, we do have some dense fog, though, elsewhere across southern Wisconsin. Sunshine this morning. Temperatures will climb to highs right around 60 degrees later on this afternoon. But again, enjoy the sun early today because the clouds will return for the afternoon. That weekend forecast, though, is a sunglasses forecast. 68 on Saturday, 70 on Sunday. Just a chance for some rain showers or isolated thunderstorms Sunday afternoon. Next week looks a little unsettled, to say the least.
We'll just focus on the here and now.
Saturday and Sunday.
Focusing on the present. It's nice to kick out the glasses again, isn't it?
It is. Let's
Have
head
a look
outside
at
and
them,
check it
clean
out
them
now. Yeah, dust them off a little bit
They
first.
were very dusty, and I, again, couldn't even find mine this morning. It's been way too long.
I'm looking forward to a weekend of sun, finally.
Yes, we deserve it.
All right, Hattie, thank you. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Make it a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Monday.